Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Amber, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be testing out Rigid Collodion to see exactly how it works. For anybody who may not be familiar with the product, Rigid Collodion is a special effects makeup item that comes in the form of a liquid that you brush on an area of skin, and as the liquid dries, it tightens and puckers, causing a scarring effect. It is a very popular product that I personally have not had the opportunity to use yet, but I did purchase a little bit from Mehron quite a while back, so I wanted to actually give it a go for once and see just how well it actually works and see if it's going to work for how I like for this particular cosplay, which does feature a scar going across the face. So we are going to be doing that in this video, as well as some test patches to make sure that my skin reacts okay to it first. The product does come with hesitancy warnings for anybody with sensitive skin, and I do happen to have sensitive skin, so I just want to make sure that I'm not going to have like an immediate negative reaction before I go putting it all over my face. It's better used on places that are more fleshy with a little bit extra skin so that it has more of an opportunity to properly pucker, because if you do it in locations where the skin is tight, it makes it a little bit more dangerous and the product doesn't work as well to begin with anyways. And two, it is also a product that you need to be incredibly careful when removing, because if you remove it improperly, it does actually increase the risk of causing real scarring on your actual skin, as well as just irritation and damage. So I want y'all to look at me, do it, and I want you to repeat after me. If I'm gonna use Rigid Collodion, I have to have spirit gum remover. Now, again, for anybody who also may not be familiar, spirit gum is a type of special effects adhesive that generally requires its own special remover to take off just because of the intense nature of the product. Rigid Collodion is very, very similar in the fact that it is much more difficult than the average product to take off, and you do want to have a specific spirit gum remover so it is able to break down and dissolve the collodion. But with all of that said, let's go ahead and actually test out the product. I did want to pop in briefly as a post-production note for a potential trigger warning. I wasn't thinking about it while I was doing the actual look, but I did do my test swatch of the Rigid Collodion around the wrist arm area, so giving it a scarring effect could have a potential visual trigger for some viewers. So if anybody is potentially bothered by that in any way, please have extreme discretion while watching this video or go ahead and skip it. It is just a basic little bottle with its own built-in brush, which is what you are supposed to use. And I am going to go ahead and paint it onto my skin for the test run. You can kind of see it. It is very cold upon application, and you can kind of see it starting to tighten and pucker on camera, especially when it's like that. When you go ahead and feel it, like now it's dry, and you can see that it does have a bit of a scarred effect. So, you know, a very incredibly easy way to give a little bit of a boost to your special effects look. I have had it on for a few minutes now and don't seem to be having any kind of reactions to it, so I think I should be safe to try to use it on my face. With the particular like baby cosplay that I'm going to be doing, it's just like a scar across the face, but it is an older scar, so I do want to try and do a little bit of brown makeup to kind of just add a little bit of an aged effect to it. It's so weird when you apply it because it definitely has like a very cold cooling sensation, which goes away as it dries, but like when it first touches your skin, it feels like it's freezing. All right, so this is what the scarring is starting to look like with the makeup added. So obviously you can tell it is much more defined than it would be with just the Rigid Collodion. That one in that particular spot didn't end up puckering quite as much, and I think that goes to show. And like when you move it, it does split. So you do have to be careful with where you put it as well, because you don't want your makeup to split and look peeled and gross like that, and especially you do not want to peel that off. So that just goes to show that you do want to be careful about the exact placement of the rigid collodion. You don't want to have it in super high movement places. Those are our test swatches, so I do want to go ahead and remove those, and then we will go ahead and test it on my face. So again, for removal, like I said, you must have spirit gum remover. Please, please, please do not try to use this product without the proper remover. I will personally come and kick all of your asses. But you go ahead and take the spirit gum remover. Fuck my... Alright, well, we accidentally spilled like half of the spirit gum remover. Thankfully, I caught it before the entire thing went. But like, as you can see, it is starting to slowly come off the more that it is dissolved and saturated, and obviously like your skin starts to unpucker slightly as it dissolves more. Now it has kept my skin a little bit, ooh, all right, definitely a little irritated as it comes off, so definitely be careful when you are taking your products off. It has like, on the first section at least, you can still see there's some on the second section, but on the first section, it is still a bit puckered and is slowly, like the more that the rigid collodion is off, is starting to unpucker. But it may take a few minutes for your skin to go completely back to normal. Alright, so the product is now completely off. You can definitely see that there is a little bit of irritation left over, but as the minutes go on, it does start to fade. I just happen to have incredibly sensitive skin, so that might be more of a personal problem than anything else. Alright, so now I am going to go in and test the rigid collodion on my face, but I am going to first go in just with like a light brown color, trying to figure out how exactly I want the scar to go based on how it's described in the book, because it's definitely described kind of heightening, like having a little bit of a cleft on her lip almost. So I want to feature that, but I want to keep it away enough from my eye so that the rigid collodion doesn't affect the sensitive skin around my eye at all. But I also don't want it completely curved, because like if I were just doing this as a rigid collodion test, I would just go ham with it and make it very visually interesting. But I'm trying to use loose inspiration from the book, and the scar was created from a machete, so you do want it to be more or less kind of ish straight. Which it's not entirely, but like, I don't know, I feel like it works with the curve of the face, like it's not too far out of the realm of believability. So we do have just a slight line, and I am going to go and blend that because we don't need it super pronounced. We just want a bit of a shadow there to make a little bit more realistic look. The cooling sensation on the face is so weird. It also, when you get it closer to your eye, you can definitely feel it. Similarly to like how you can feel liquid latex around the eyes, just with like the slight burning sensation the closer that it gets. So as it's drying a little bit, I do like the effect that we're getting, but I do think I want to maybe do a line right next to it and make it a little bit larger. It's definitely not puckering quite as much as I would like. I mean, obviously over the next minute it definitely could pucker a little bit more. It takes a few minutes to get to full pucker levels, but I do think perhaps I am going to do one layer over top, just like the middle of where they both are, especially around the mouth area, which is absolutely allowed. They even say specifically on the Mehron website that if you want a more dramatic look that you can do multiple layers and it will continue to deepen the effect. So we have that going on. I am starting to like the appearance of it, but I do want to go ahead and add a little bit of setting powder to make it a little less shiny, because when you do first apply the Rigid Collodion, it has a little bit of a plasticky sheen to it, which makes sense because I did read somewhere that Rigid Collodion is more or less like a liquid plastic that dries, kind of. Alright, I do think that the setting powder helped quite a bit with making it look a little bit more scar-like. I mean, it definitely isn't the most realistic looking thing, but also for my first time using Rigid Collodion, not terrible. And it definitely gives me about the effect I was looking for this particular cosplay. So I am definitely not mad about that. I will say I am a little bit slightly irritated at like my skin feeling around the edge of my lip does hurt a little bit. Not major or anything, it kind of just feels like a little bit of a chapped lip, which, I mean, my lips were chapped, as you can tell, while filming this video, so it could have just, you know, gotten into a slight abrasion that I already had. It's nothing major or like super concerning in any way. I just want to be transparent and note, don't get it around broken skin. So yes, as for a product, I would say that I'm a fan of Rigid Collodion. I do think that you have to be very, very careful about how you use it, but I think it is a fantastic, incredibly easy way to add extra depth to a look that you might not have gotten elsewhere. And it is definitely a good piece to add to any makeup artist's kit. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I had a blast hanging out with y'all.